But first, to the mum living with incurable cancer who's warning of a looming crisis in research and treatment of the illness caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The charity Cancer Research UK says it could end up losing over £160 million in the next year alone because so much of its vital fundraising, like the Race for Life, has had to be cancelled. Mullane is a radio broadcaster many North West listeners will recognise. She says so many of our lives are still being affected by cancer, and despite the difficult times, it's vital we dig deep to help fund vital research. Our correspondent Rob Smith reports.
Sharing scenery, making memories, taking time with family's everything, and she gets to do it because of years of medical research.
Literally shopping in Sainsbury's 1 minute and having a laugh, to suddenly being told I had 6 months with no treatment and 2.5 years with treatment.
Mullane from Audley Edge is living with incurable bowel cancer. She's worried patients like her won't get even more months or years in future because COVID's impacted cancer drug development and clinical trials. Lockdown and social distancing's kept many people from fundraising, and less money means fewer breakthroughs.
The fundraising crisis is petrifying, because to lose that level of investment regarding trials, I'm only here because of the excellent treatment I'm able to receive. I was given a new type of chemotherapy on Friday, and I think people need to understand that living with cancer is doable due to the immense research and trials that go ahead now.
As promised, I've got some news for you.
COVID put our research on pause.
The charity Cancer Research UK have made public just what this pause means for them alone. They expect £160 million to be lost from their income over the next year, forcing £44 million in cuts to research. Not what 40,000 people diagnosed each year in the North West want to hear, nor their families.
It's absolutely devastating that so much money has just got lost along the way. But that's why it's so important that we are doing what we're doing, especially whilst my mum is still here. That is just, unfortunately, the gravity of the situation. It's so important for raising awareness, creating more trials, investing money into people that cancer doesn't affect just young people or old people. It affects everybody.
There are sponsored events you could do at home. Obviously, Captain Tom, who's doing his bit around the garden. And there's so many things. I think be innovative now. That's the opportunity. And you can still raise money, and people do want to give.
Those who've given have kept Michelle and her loved ones going. They've kept charities of all kinds going. Now, during a pandemic, they're asking us all to go a bit further. Rob Smith, ITV News, Audley Edge.
There's such an important message. And a little earlier, I spoke to Dr. David Scott, who's the Director of Discovery Research at Cancer Research UK. And he was full of praise for the work that Michelle is doing.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think the support from Michelle is absolutely fantastic. And just to put it very simply, the support that we need for our current appeal from the public and from our supporters is really to help us get our life-saving research back on track and to try and minimise the effect of the current coronavirus pandemic.
And we've heard that you could lose £160 million from your fundraising revenue. How catastrophic could that be?
Yeah, so that's correct. The financial impact of the current pandemic is going to be pretty significant on Cancer Research UK, and also importantly on the work that we're able to support. So we're predicting this year that our fundraising will be down in the region of £160 million. So that's about 30% of our normal fundraising in any 1 year. Now, in terms of how that translates into research spend, in the current year, unfortunately, we've had to cut £44 million from our research spend.
And what impact will that have in terms of searching for cures and treatments in places like the Christie in Manchester or the Clatterbridge in Merseyside?
Yeah, so the impact is going to be felt on everything that we do. We're going to fund less research in the labs, less experiments. And of course, really near to patients, we're going to have less clinical trials, so less access to cutting-edge treatments for cancer patients, including, unfortunately, in the Northwest.
You mentioned the £44 million worth of cuts that you've had already. Could there be more to come?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, and we're trying to work through this at the moment, our income in future years is very likely to be affected by the pandemic as well. And so it's very likely that we're going to have to reduce our research spend in future years.
And these are tough times financially for so many people. What would you say to those people? I mean, how can they help?
Yeah, and we fully appreciate there's a lot of people going through very tough times as a result of the pandemic. Well, what I would say is that every pound, every donation helps our life-saving research at this point. So really anything anybody's able to donate, we're extremely grateful for.
And if you can't start fundraising soon and the donations don't start coming in, presumably this could get a whole lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, as you say, we will be able to do less research, and of course the research that we're doing today leads to the treatments of tomorrow.
And we've heard, horrible statistics about over 40,000 people a year here in the Northwest will be diagnosed with cancer. There's powerful advertising campaign at the moment showing us cancer patients receiving good news from their doctors. We obviously want to see more of that, but you need money to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's correct. So every diagnostic, every new treatment that comes on is completely based in research, like the research that Cancer Research UK funds. So it's all connected here.
Okay, Dr. Scott, thank you very much for joining us.
Many thanks, thank you.
And there is more information about Michelle and cancer research on our website right now. That is itv.com/Granada. Well, now